Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we have another car which is Hyundai i800 2011, and the car has come to our garage with the symptom that the car will not start. So the car was going on the motorway, along the motorway, and suddenly left or lost power and then come to a still stand. So when the recovery was called, so the recovery was able to start the engine with the aid of easy start or brake cleaner. So then the car was to our garage. So I'm going to show you that the car cannot start with the normal key on the start position. The engine is cranking, but it will not start until you add the brake cleaner with the aid of brake cleaner and or easy start, this too. So this is the vehicle. This is a big, I think it's going to be seven-seater. So Hyundai i800, and it's 2000. It's registered 2011 in the United Kingdom. So and also it has 2.5 liter of diesel engine. The engine is CRDI 16 valve, and the engine code is D4CB, so Delta 4 Charlie Bravo. So this is the engine, and also I have scanned the vehicle and found no any fault code. So I'm going to show you. This is the scanning report that I have got. As you can see, there is the vehicle has scanned 100%, but there is no any fault code stored in the memory. So now I'm going to show you. So I have put the battery, I think so as you can see, the battery voltage is 14.3. so I'm going to try starting the engine without the aid of the easy start or brake cleaner, and see if the engine can be started. So I'm going to turn the ignition off and then turn it on until the glow plug is activated once again. So I'm going to check. So I'm going to turn the ignition off once again and turn it on again and wait for the glow plugs to be turned off. Okay, the engine started without any easy start aid or brake cleaner aid, but as you can see now the engine is running normally. So when the engine is warm up, and you will see a knocking sound from here or a banging knocking sound from top front end. So I'm going to wait until the engine is warm up, and then I'm going to show you the symptom and also the noise or the knocking sound coming from here. And also I'm going to mention that I have disconnected each injectors one by one, and I was trying to make the 40 cylinder take, and when I disconnected injector number one, so the knocking sound was decreased little bit, so I suspect cylinder number one. The problem is here, so we don't know yet what is going to be the problem, whether that will be the hydraulic valve lifter, rocker arm, valve broken, valve retaining spring or retaining device. We don't know yet. So as you can see little bit tick 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 ticking noise, and that's going to be increased as the engine is closing to the warming up position. Okay, as you can hear, the loud banging noise is coming from the top end somewhere, and also that could be the camshaft bearing, camshaft loop something, so we don't know. So I'm going to share this with the customer and also negotiate with the customer, and if we agree, you are going to go ahead and you will see what the problem is. But if the customer did not agree, I'm going to hand talk to the customer back. So I'm not going to leave further running the engine, so that's going to cause more damage to the engine. So as you can hear, the loud banging, so I'm going to turn the engine off, but the engine has not reached its fully operating temperature yet. I think the temperature is going to be right now it's approximately 60. The engine temperature is approximately 60. It's not reached to its fully operating. The engine has not reached to its fully operating temperature. So this is the noise. So I'm going to turn the engine off. So engine is off. Okay, it turned out to be the bottom end of the engine gone. So we had no any other choice to replace the engine. To replace the engine, so engine for this particular vehicle with this age, 2011, was not available anywhere. So there were 2-3 places, and they say that we have got the refurbished one, but unfortunately when we contacted them, they were not clear. So finally customer find somewhere Kia Sorento engine, Kia Sorento 2006 engine with 80,000 mile, with the same engine code as this one is. So the customer emphasized that the customer told me that I contacted the seller. The seller said, I'm 100% sure that this engine is going to work with the Hyundai i800, because both engines are with the same code. And also the seller they tell the customer that I have sold this to 2-3 other customers, so there is no any complaint about that. The clutch is completely finished. No friction disc is left, it's completely worn out. We have replaced the engine with the Kia Sorento engine. We have installed the Kia Sorento engine with many modification. As you can see, this is the engine which is taken out from this vehicle. This is the engine and we have replaced, unfortunately, with the Kia Sorento 2006, same engine code D4CB, but this engine is 140 horsepower, and that engine, this one, is 170 horsepower. Unfortunately, we were told by the scrapyard or by the seller, by the engine seller, that the only difference is this, that the engine which we have taken out from the vehicle, and the vacuum pump is located here, and they say on this one the vacuum pump is located here. That is the only difference, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. There were many things different. As you can see, the alternator switch, this one is supplied with, this is the original vehicle wiring loom. As you can see, just one wire is connected, but when we brought the engine, and the engine has two connectors. I'm not sure where I put the connector, but I'm going to show you later that this one has two wire at the connector. That's one different. And also the huge difference was the turbo, because this one, which we have moved from the old engine, from that engine here, so the it has a sensor on the exhaust manifold down, or the catalytic converter something, but this one, the one which we bought, didn't have any sensor on it. And another thing, unfortunately, which was very, very different when we connected the turbo, as you can see, the one hose, turbo hose is here on the engine which we have taken, but when the one which we bought, the hoses, the input or output, I'm not sure that's input or output of the coolant, is here. That's another different. Another huge difference was about this hose. This hose, as you can see, this hose and the engine which we bought was, the hose was layout like so, and we couldn't put the inlet manifold in, so we had to cut the the pipe here and then did a modification. And the other huge difference is the pump. I think this is going to be the Bosch 3 generation or 4 generation, but the one which we bought with the engine is second or first generation. So anyway, the fuel rail has here, as you can see, it hasn't got anything, just only no fuel regulating valve connected or located here. And also I'm going to show you, this is the engine or fuel rail which we have taken from the engine, and this is completely blank, no hole here. And here I'm going to show you that there is a hole here on the fuel rail. As you can see, this is the fuel rail, and that's the hole here. This pipe, as you can see, connected. Let me, if you can see here, so this is the, come on, this is the fuel rail, and this pipe is connected to that. So anyway, we have installed, we have done everything. Another huge difference, as you can see, the center plate which can be put here is 280 millimeter wider, and the previous vehicle, that's the flywheel drop there, that's 260, which comes with the smaller diameter center plate. This is the smaller diameter center plate. So anyway, now I'm going to start the engine, and the engine fires and immediately stalls. So as you can see, so let me yeah, the glow flag sign has gone. Now I'm going to start the engine. So the engine starts and immediately stalls. And this is the fault code we have. So this is, ignore this one, the top one, but this is immediately comes when we try to start the engine, and the engine stalls immediately. So P1185. So I'm going to clear this fault code. So I'm going to clear this fault code. So turn the ignition off, on again, read fault code. So no fault code. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to show you the live data here. Live data. Okay, I'm going to show you the live data of fuel rail pressure, target rail, this too. Okay, now I'm going to turn the ignition off, on again, and I'm going to crank the engine, and you watch here. You just watch the fuel rail pressure and also the target. As you can see, the other thing is that all the time this fuel pressure reading is 145. Even if I connected the wiring connector to the fuel rail and also to the fuel regulating valve to the which is located on the high pressure pump, so fuel regulator or fuel metering valve, whatever you call it. So now I'm going to crank the engine and you watch the fuel pressure. As you can see immediately, I think it, let me come that back to 145. Yeah, and the fuel rail pressure has returned back to 145 psi. Now I'm going to crank the engine again. You watch. If you can pick up the maximum, it's 63,000 psi, and the engine fires and immediately stall. So next step, we are going to put the fuel rail with the fuel rail pressure sensor from that engine and try it again if we can succeed. So the final step is to move that high pressure pump there and swap it with the one which has come with this engine. So the aim of this video was to, if you have not experienced, and if as a professional, if you haven't experienced this type of modification, never trust the seller or the customer, because the customer pushed me a little bit that say, oh, I'm 100% sure this is going to work with that. I haven't had experience this before, so that's the reason I am stuck with this, and I'm going to share everything with you. If I get able to get out of this trap, and let's see that what fault code has returned back. What is it? So I'm going to check for trouble code. Come on. Okay, this treble code has returned back, as you can see. So P1185. So if I clear the full code, so ignition on and engine off, yes. So now read fault code, so no fault code. So go back and start engine. Engine started and stalls. Okay, engine stall. And now I'm going to check for trouble code again. So this is the trouble code that return all the times. Another thing which was different was the engine mounting. So engine mounting, alternator, vacuum pump, EGR valve connection, EGR cooling or cooler connection was different. Turbo cooling pipe was different. uh, so turbo, this turbo did not have any sensor after turbo on the catalytic converter or DPF, I'm not sure. This is only just a sleeve. There is no any filter located in this one here. Another huge differences between the engine, fuel pump, fuel connectors, and on pump on this engine. So so this connectors, this fuel lines connectors are for this high pressure pump which we have taken from the vehicle, and the fuel pump on this engine, it has a push type of let me, if I can show you. As you can see, this injection pump has a push type of fuel line connector. Can you see that one? This is the fuel line connector, this one, this one, this one. I'm going to zoom it in. As you can see, this one, this is the push type one, this one. Give me 2 minutes. This is the push type. This one, this one, this one. Okay, as you can see, we have removed the injection pump. This is CR/CP1H3 pump, Bosch. We have removed this high pressure pump from this engine. Engine is with the same code, D4CB, which we have taken from that Hyundai i800, this one. And we have installed same engine with the same engine code, D4CB, but unfortunately the fuel injection pump is different. So we are going to transfer the fuel injection pump, which was which had already been on this vehicle, and and it was on the engine which we took out of from this vehicle, and now we are going to install that injection pump into this to this engine, or feed in to this engine. So to do that, why we are doing that, why we are transferring that injection pump, because this injection pump is different, it cannot be seen, and when I removed, I'm going to explain that to you, whether it's P3 or CP41 or whatever it is. And because when we were trying to start the engine was firing, and then immediately the engine was shut up by the ECU, and the fault code was that the fuel rail pressure is too high. So we are going to transfer the injection pump, which is matched to the ECU of this vehicle. So to remove the injection pump, we are going to remove the front bumper first, and once we have removed the front bumper first, then we are going to drain the coolant from the radiator and disconnect this hose and some other extra job, including this headlight and this headlight. And then we are going to remove the front module altogether with the EC condenser radiator. Then we will have access to the front of the engine. Remove the headlight. So after removing this side headlight, this one, so we are going to remove this screw, this screw. So before removing this screw, so we are going to drain the radiator, then this screw, that screw, and disconnect this connector. And remove the strap, earth strap, and this clip, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, this bolts. Then disconnect coolant hose, and this one, the bottom coolant hose. So I have removed this one and disconnect this coolant hose, and then you will be able to remove this module. You need to remove this screw as well, and disconnect this cable, bonnet opening cable must be disconnected. So once I have done this, when I remove this module, and then the engine will be ready to work on it, on the front cover, which is this one. That should be removed as well. So remove this panel from underneath to get access to the radiator drain plug. This panel. Drain coolant from the radiator. So open the radiator cap to drain quickly the radiator. So remove one screw from here and the other is here. This one, as I told you before, this strap from here, this connector, this clip, bonnet cable, this screw, this, and 1, 2, 4 here, 4 here, 4 here. So I had forgotten this relay. You need to remove this relay as well. Just push here with a screwdriver and then pull it upward. So, okay. Excuse me. Just push this through this window, and that's going. Just push. Where is that? Push this through this window backward, and then just pull it upward like so. Remove this AC condenser pipe to, as you can see, this one too. Put the screw back, not to lose. Put the nuts back, not to lose them. Come on, wasting my time. Okay, I remove the module complete. So disconnected this hose, this, and this screw from here, this connector. So now I'm going to remove this 2 screws. First I'm going to disconnect this. Disconnect this, then remove this screw. This is for the steering, power steering, oil cooler. Then I'm going to remove this clamp from the charged air cooler, and then unscrew these 2 screws and plus this 2 here. Then that can be removed, this one. Okay, I have removed charged air cooler as well. Now this is the front of the vehicle. It's too late now, I'm going home, so I will do the rest tomorrow. I will be removing this belt, and then we're going to remove the high pressure pump, and I will be removing the high pressure pump without removing the timing chain. So the timing chain will be in its place, and we will remove the high pressure fuel pump and swap with the other one.